My friends, hello. The deeper we go, the more we dig, and we say we've hit rock bottom, rock bottom, rock bottom, but there's still more. Today, starting from this April, what's going to happen is that the housing tax for second homes will be doubled. That's what the people's lawmakers have decided, the lawmakers who themselves will be exempt from this tax. Why? Because they'll be able to claim it as an expense. So there you have it. The situation is that we have people who decide on taxes, and then we pay taxes to pay their taxes, the ones they decide to drop on our heads. You see how it is? It blows your mind, but that's how it is. It's going to affect people who, for example, inherit a home. The grandfather died, we inherit the home. We don't want to sell it right away because the estate lawyer says the market is bad, or says it needs repairs, or says we need paperwork. And that's how a lot of families, sometimes middle class, sometimes of modest means, can end up with a second home. I'm not talking about the second home with a heated pool paid for by taxpayers' money, where, for example, a member of parliament lives. No, I'm talking about middle class people who can suddenly find themselves with a house they've inherited. Not only is there an inheritance tax, which means a good part of the value will go into the state's coffers, but on top of that, the state immediately hits them with a housing tax that's doubled on this empty house. There you go. We're in the process of, I think it's high time. If you ask me what time it is, I tell you it's high time to realize that the leaders have waged war on us, have started the war. It only takes one side to start a war. In the end, you don't need both. Just one side declaring war is enough. We're in a situation in many European countries, in the United Kingdom, in France, elsewhere, where the authorities have declared war on us. And then it might fail at the top, I don't know. Today, I'm going to tell you about another absolutely astonishing story. Last year, 2024, there were 750 Turkish barbershops that opened in the United Kingdom. 750 barbershops in 1 year. And this year, a lot more are opening. There's an acceleration. Today, you find one on every street. What's happening? In general, they're empty too. That means you don't see any economic logic behind it. You look, there are two guys inside. They spend the whole day on their phones and there's nothing going on. What's going on? Sometimes they even rent a container, put it in a supermarket. They put two guys inside and two chairs, and it's in the back of the supermarket. Nobody sees it, nobody goes there, but they're there. What's this all about? So, of course, this month we're learning that the police and the tax authorities are cracking down on them in a big way. Why? They spent months and months watching them, sometimes with binoculars, sometimes from a house across the street, sometimes with hidden cameras. They discovered that some of these barbers, while most of them don't have any customers, no customers are coming in all day. And in the evening, they see that a large amount of cash has been deposited at the bank. So in reality, we're dealing with a mafia operation. They're actually mafias, and many aren't Turkish but Albanian. The majority of those who run these barbershops are of Albanian origin, and you'll find a lot of asylum seekers and all that inside. There was even one who was arrested who had sent money to Daesh and to terrorist groups. Just to tell you that sometimes it's also used as a front to finance terrorist groups. So, last year we had something similar with stores that sell American candy. That means very often you're walking down a British street in a village or a town, and there you see in a really busy spot with lots of people passing by and all that, you have a shop that's not American, and inside they sell chocolate American candies. No one inside. Prices that, let's say, beat all competition. You can find a little box like this with small multicolored candies full of artificial coloring and chemicals and all that, and it's like 10 or 12 euros for the little box. There's nobody in their stores all day long, and now they're everywhere. Same thing, it's like with the Turkish barbers. These are shops that are there just to move cash around. The year before we had, and we still do actually, because every year we get new layers of problems piling up on top of each other. When January 1st comes, we don't erase the old problems, we just add new ones on top. Now we have these salons, these nail salons with lots of women from Laos and Vietnam and so on, We don't really know what they're up to inside. We've regularly had the tax authorities show up at their places. We've had immigration raids, so they're undocumented. And on top of that, very often it's also used to move money around. So money comes in there and that money is sent to the banks to be laundered. So it's always a money laundering scheme. What are we seeing? Let me explain. In reality, if you look at it socially, we're witnessing the collapse of the British High Street. Why? Because small businesses just can't keep up anymore. A lot of family businesses, a lot of shops that had been there for generations. I've seen stores that had been around for 140 years close down. Sometimes you see an article in the newspaper that says this store has been run by the same family for 140 years and now it's closed. And then when it closes, you go see what's in its place. A shop with phone unlocking plus suitcase sales and phone case sales. Someone inside not working all day. What is it again? Actually, honest people can't take it anymore. Why? Because we're being driven out by taxes, regulations, and climate stuff. To tell you the truth, there are plenty of local governments today that are driving customers away from stores. It means that we're really at a level, honestly, on a biblical level, we're literally at the level of the Philistines. We're dealing with well poisoners. We're dealing with those people who are in the desert. They arrive, they find a well. Since they can't take over the well and leave with it because you can't loot a well, you can drink from it if you want. But after a while, you have to leave. You can't take it with you. So what do? They throw large stones inside to destroy it, preventing others from using it. We're dealing with those kinds of people. We're dealing with that kind of people. And so what happens is that you're a shopkeeper. You're already struggling to make ends meet. You already have a lot of taxes. You have VAT. You have all kinds of expenses, right? Permits, waiting periods, certificates, all sorts of things. I mean, just to open, they give you a hard time. And if you open a store where you sell food and all that, expect even more. And then what happens? They come after your customers. Parking spaces are in front of your place. One day they arrive. It's closed, forbidden. Or they will come, paint them, and say, there, that's only for disabled people. Or they will create strange parking rules, etc. Or there's a street in front of your business. You were counting on it to bring you customers. Suddenly one day they will come, close it and say, for climate reasons, we closed it. Now it becomes a bike-only street. That's what they're doing. They are literally massacring the customers. And they're doing it with what I just told you, with these tactics. Road closures, creating artificial traffic jams, intentional traffic jams, hunting down drivers, cameras everywhere, no right turns allowed. Suddenly, you arrive and right turns are banned, even though they were always allowed before. Now it's forbidden and there's a camera in the back. If you turn right, you get a fine sent to your home. So this crackdown is emptying out the city center. What are people doing? Today I shop online. I'm sorry, I buy from American companies. I buy from Amazon. All right. So the shopkeepers are going out of business. Who can afford these stores now? Who can afford expensive and unprofitable stores? Who can afford them? You have the answer. It's organized crime. Organized crime, since they're there to launder money, they don't care about economic logic. The economic logic isn't what you read on the storefront. They don't care. If customers don't come, if you can't park, that's not their problem. They see the store as an investment to launder so much money. Well, they open it and then they launder money. And that's it. And then whatever they lose on winter overhead and all that, for them it's just justified. It's justified for what they're doing. That's all, my friends. I just wanted to share that. It's pretty awful. Let me remind you about the release of my book, Les Grandes Trahisons. I go into it there. I say a lot of things that I can't say here. You know, for example, many of you asked me why the United Kingdom did nothing about the Telford gangs and others. Because I simply can't tell you here. That's why I don't talk about it here, or very little, or sometimes with a lot of metaphors. So I prefer to tell you here, without beating around the bush. Here, there's no algorithm, no moderation, nothing. I tell you what I think, just as I think it. So I encourage you to look for this book on Amazon. I'll give you the link in the video description and in the pinned comment. And of course, I talk a lot about France. I talk about how France's gold ended up in the United States. Even though France was saved by de Gaulle, it ended up in the United States. And lots of stories like that. Lots of stories that show you, honestly, if you finish this book without feeling sick, honestly, I take my hat off to you. I felt sick while writing it. There you go, my friends. All stories are verifiable and researchable. It's terrible. It's terrible. They've declared war on us. Do you realize that? I don't know how old you were the first time you realized that the authorities of your country had declared war on you. In the United Kingdom, in France, all that. It's clear. They declared war on us. The goal is to bring us to our knees. I don't know what do they consider a victory? At what point? How much misery do they need? How many unemployed people do they need? How many people who can't eat, who can't heat their homes, can't work? How many retirees dying from the cold? How much suffering? How many poor children? We have 21% of the population living in poverty in the United Kingdom, you know. We even have poor children. I believe there are nearly 2 million poor children in this country, officially. Official figures generally tend to be a little optimistic. Generally, you have to go a little higher, right? So I don't know at what point they say that's enough. We've made these people suffer enough. We destroyed their happiness. We destroyed their future. We destroyed their present. We destroyed their culture, their economy, their outlook. We destroyed their currency, family, education, art, everything. And now, that's it. We're victorious. We can stop. I don't know when they're going to declare that. Or maybe not. They'll never declare that until this place looks like a wasteland, a giant parking lot. I don't know. In any case, thank you, my friends, for listening to this video. I'm devastated. I'm stunned by what's happening. And yet, you know me. I'm not under any illusions to begin with, so I don't get shocked that easily. But honestly, this is becoming unimaginable. That's it. See you soon, friends. See you in the next video.